welcome to Rapyd U office hours. Really, we're just talking about payments, anything fintech. Uh, we'll go over the Rapyd API and just get into things, collaborate. It's a time for developers to learn and also get help. We'll also, over the course of time, have different speakers, have different people share during this time, really to grow closer, really to one another and to just build community and learn what each of us are doing. So, I'll just open up and enter into the next slide. As you guys can see, this here's, again, the overview. We'll just give an overview of Rapyd. Just a short use case example. We have we've been focusing past couple months on delivery. This will be the last mile delivery. Some logistics companies will do just a short, really simple, can't stress enough, super simple. Request signature in curl, and there'll just be list countries. Maybe we'll do some other calls if we have time, but so we can continue, and we may have seen this before, seen the slide. Really, it's just an opening of talking about payments in a way where as you begin to build infrastructure, build a payments tool for others to use, payments doesn't become a cost. And so this allows you as a developer, allows us as a business to partner with other businesses and empower them so they will build revenue. And going to the next slide, really we used to think of this as a cost. I'll explain this a little bit later in share, kind of practically the different methods of that. But what businesses would do is really, pay for customers, or just this mindset of, having to pay and expand. Should I do it or not in a realm? And is it worth it? But as you build in fintech, as you build APIs, really this is a service that you're offering for others to use. And so now it becomes more of just an opportunity to grow, to get more revenue, to grow your business. And so here we have the evolution of the basically fintech, really simplified, but before you had offline payments, a lot of brick and mortar stores, and then the internet, cards would charged online, and then the development of cloud, and then that moved more towards mobility and mobile payments. You see more mobile payments growing in e-commerce, and then Rapyd. No. So what Rapyd really represents is the power to just revolutionize payments with one integration. And so really the idea of everything you need in one, whether it's getting paid, collecting payments, paying out others, moving money, issuing any payment methods, that is really the heart and really the next phase of fintech as we see going. Really everything is connected, even though in the background there may be different integrations. It all connects as one.
Sure.
And so moving to this next slide, really is just an overview of Rapyd. I won't spend too much time on this, but we have our main platforms: collect, accepting payments, disperse, wallet, and then issuing, and all these different really, I guess, sub services. Here we have the different payment. These are payment categories. I guess you could look at it as cards, cash, e-wallets, bank transfers. And one thing that we do, which is exciting, that we have coming soon is an open API. It should be coming soon later this year. Looking forward to it. And yeah, what a lot of different developers can do with that. So. And so why build with Rapyd? Well, just wanted to go over really, we don't have to read this whole thing, but 4 main points. The reach. So there's a vast and growing payments network. Our partnership and network team is working hard to build more and more countries. There's hundreds of countries right now and payment methods. And really that allows you to reach customers in multiple countries. And so solutions, really these are things that businesses don't see, that PCI compliance, having to build hosted pages that abide by the regulations, just compliance in general, verification of users, security, and so many other fields that are within payments objects and the API, and then of course single API. This is for developers and businesses to simplify all of this in that integration into one. And of course our capabilities, the slide that I just shared before, with collect, disperse, wallets, being able to, as Rapyd becomes a fit for you, accepting the payments and being able to manage funds in multiple ways. And so here is just a slide to call to action. If you haven't yet, go ahead and just play around in Sandbox, open up an account in Client Portal, and just get a feel of the API on what's available, what you think, and we love to hear from you. We love to hear what projects you're building, and what you're working on. And so here are some industries. There's not all, but some industries we are focusing on this year. Just a lot of it is fintech related. There's more. There's you get into gaming. I guess that could be some sort of market and exchange. But we've past few months focused on supply chain logistics up here. That's why this lady likes it so much. So we've been showing some of those cases, which I'll enter into in a little bit. But here is just a simple, just to really simplify this process of, okay, what are we doing? What do we want to see happen? Is really, as developers, as businesses, you find a service that provides something to clients that is valuable to them, and then you start to gain users. You start to get wins, get successes, and start to acquire their data, acquire their information, handling their information, and then as you do that, adding financial services in whatever ways now becomes valuable. I mean, we even see crossover in super apps, but this is, can be collecting payments, of course, is probably the main thing, but also holding funds in a wallet, building, issuing credit or building credit for your users, whatever it is. But as you start to integrate that and become successful with one platform, you can begin to engage users in a repetitive model and cross-sell, upsell, become their one hub. And so I wanted to just share kind of a use case, a quote from Sebastian Miha. I think I'm pronouncing his name, probably murdering it, but uh, and he says he's the co-founder and president of Rappi. He says we went and built all of the payment solutions to accept payments in cash. So they're located in Mexico, in South America. You can actually help leapfrog a customer from the offline world. These are customers that use cash a lot directly into mobile and just jump all of the traditional e-commerce journey. And so we understand customer adoption and how that now, in many cases, card, sometimes e-wallet, sometimes bank transfer are the leading payment methods in different countries. In South America, especially before the pandemic, there was cash. Cash was huge, and Rappi was able to integrate with Rapyd and be able to empower so many different customers who would pay for delivery, and so they had a big issue, especially in some areas. You guys may know and may have traveled to different places in Mexico and in South America where actually delivery was very difficult, and it would take what would be, for us, completely different experience for customers, days to and sometimes weeks to deliver something. So Rappi is able to provide that delivery service to customers who pay cash, also card and different payment methods, and they deliver from drugs from the pharmacy to food, groceries, packages. Yeah. And so what's the implication? This is something every developer needs to be able to at least understand. I'd say as they're building a platform and being able to accept payments and make this sustainable, when you start to integrate with a Fintech API, you move beyond just finding one solution and to building a full integration and building a relationship with customers, with your clients. And so again, this same idea of when you have one solution, you can cross-sell, upsell. Of course, you have lower churn. You become that one hub. And so really, again, it's the money that makes things sustainable. You have to say. And so here we have, and again, an example of this old model. This is, people still do this in many industries, but so this idea of you sell customer data, and advertise, and then you have this. It's just really a mindset. This payment is an expense. I heard this talk from an entrepreneur recently. They were saying the person who pays the most into the pool of customers wins, really, because they're advertising the most, they're getting out in front, and that could be still true. I still got that letter from my bank. It's like, do you want your customer data to be released or not? Check this box here, or go online and tell them. It's the same concept, but here with fintech, this idea of you get paid every time money moves, and payments is looked at as growth, as a way for more revenue, for more partnership. Now I am the fintech. I'm the captain. I make 2% on every transaction. And so Rapyd, we're here really for developers. We have a team of SEs as well as technical writers to come alongside you, and we have different resources where you can find community, ask questions, just get help. Really, we want to see people succeed. We want to see people grow. Even, whatever you're building, And so here is an example, super simplified. Oops, oversimplified. But here's an example of a Rapyd stack on what it's built. Of course, there's hundreds of integrations in the back end, but we have built on AWS, with MongoDB and MySQL. Front end is React with the hosted pages and client portal, and then back end is with using Node.js. Yeah, and so again, an encouragement. If anyone watching this on replay or anyone here, if you haven't gotten started, yeah, we just encourage you to test out the API. You can sign up in client portal and grab your API keys and yeah, just get started. And so we're gonna do just an example today in what that looks like in getting started. So I'll grab my API keys from client portal. I'll do the API called list countries. It's just one of the most simple calls that we just demo to be able to walk through for your first API call in our documentation. I'll do a Python to calculate the signature actually, but and then a curl request. So I will move to the next slide. And so this is an example of our client portal. McKay releases he releases documentation all the time, probably each week on guides on where to navigate and everything. One thing that we just cool release is if you have multiple businesses, you can add them here without logging out. And so I'm here in just a test sandbox mode. You remove production. Of course, this account is not activated, but what you'll want to do when you first sign up and verify your email is go to Developers tab here, and then you have your access key and secret key. You want to copy those and make sure you're pasting them in the right place. We'll go back to this as well, but we're gonna actually use here this Rapyd sample here. It's just a curl request, and this this example here. It's just super simple, and it generates this curl request and you will just copy it and paste it in. Also released an article on this, so if you go to our forum community.rapyd.net, it'll talk a little bit about it. But yeah, I'll just go ahead and do that. So right now I'm in the right folder, and so and again, this is Rapyd Gen curl. Actually, what I do want to do is just show. Oh, right here. Okay, so here, these are my keys. You can go ahead and steal my information. Yeah, this is just my sandbox account, so you could copy that and you'll paste the keys in here. Of course, you could use variables to not expose your keys. You save that, and then really you're good to go. And so I want to come back here and then go Python 3. Cool. And then so that generates basically the signature request, and here, I mean, it's kind of manual process, but just for the example. And then I'll paste that in. This is the curl request here, and then let me just copy one thing, just make it look a little better. Okay, cool. And then so it's pretty long because it's every country, so We have all the this is what it looks like without the I guess the pretty print, but here is basically all the countries starting from Albania. You can just search up different country or currencies here with the 2 country code and 3 country code as well. And so yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. We could do an example, but I'm gonna stop talking. We also have a Postman collection too that you can download and test around different calls as well. We usually do that and run through that for different examples. But yeah, just wanted to open it up and yes, if anyone had any questions, would love to hear even from Ryan and just sharing your experience working with API and just building your product in general, with different APIs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's good. The only thing you mentioned was you said something about Rapyd is working on an open API launching an open API at some point. What does that mean versus, is that OAuth or what are they thinking of doing?
Yeah, that is OAuth. So that's basically it's all like I guess it would be privately built, but now it's like it's I think they're using I always forget the name.
You might be talking about open API like a Swagger file.
Yeah,
like
Swagger.
Okay.
Yeah, Swagger.
Okay. Sure. Okay, so you're going to publish the open API specification
Correct.
for your API so that, a developer who is using a framework or a tool that allows you to it'll look at that specification and then it's kind of like back in the day, older than you probably, there's these XML files.
Mm-hmm.
And so XML APIs came with a WSDL file, and the WSDL file told you all the requirements of how long a string could be or whether it was a true or false or other things like that. So the open API specification is a public broadcast of all of the endpoints and the requests and the responses and some samples. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and the heart is that hopefully that will feed into even the Postman collection. It'll always be updated and feed into any releases. Those will be updated. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's good. Yeah, I've always been asking for OAuth for Rapyd account, letting third parties who already have their Rapyd account grant more granular permissions to a partner like us. Because right now the way it works is typically copy and paste your API keys from your dashboard into another flow, which is fine, but we like to try to just not holding on to somebody's raw card data. We also don't like to hold on to somebody's raw API keys because there can be different limitations with asking somebody for it and storing it. So that would be my only other. When you said open API for some reason, I just thought you meant OAuth, but that's my confusion.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys deal with mostly large enterprise merchants and bigger merchants. So having the copy and paste of the token is really not that bad for that type of setup. So
yeah,
all good. Cool.
Nice. Yeah. What are I guess some of the things that you've seen that you kind of like to work with, and I don't know. I don't know.
Rapyd's a really good setup. I mean, we have worked with every payment partner out there, and so Rapyd has the thing that is really creative about what Rapyd. A lot of the other payment providers are, even somebody like Stripe, yes, they kind of go into alternative payment methods, so things outside of regular cards, but nobody goes into alternative payment methods in the abstract manner that Rapyd does. So like the way you return when I'm talking about payments, like I'm really only deal with like, so that's the other thing is I only touch like when you think of all the things that Rapyd does, I really just do Rapyd collect with payable. So like we don't really do disperse or wallet or issuing or any of that other stuff. So I'm really only that one left side. But what makes your APIs unique is the way you abstract any payment method. So that could be like dropping off cash at a American Woolworth store or something. Sorry, Woolworth. That's is that Australian or is that American? Like taking it into some Dollar General and dropping it off, or a drugstore, and then tracking using your API whether or not it's been picked up or delivered or confirmed or all those different statuses. And as a developer, you don't need to manage really much difference between what would be dropping off cash at a drugstore versus paying with a credit card. All that logic is pretty abstracted from you, so it's really quite cool. And the Rapyd Collect JavaScript library is really good. It takes away all the UI work that you would have to do to manage a lot of that. So it's very, it's more versatile, like in the payment use cases than anything else that I've seen. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. What are some of the things, I know, Ryan, you have probably a lot of different thoughts. What are some of the things you are looking forward to just in general in the payments space?
What am I looking forward to? Uh, uh, what am I looking forward to? I think like for a lot of my career, I worked on card present stuff. So like doing different things with payment terminals. And I've been like super impressed at the evolution of card present and like human present transactions. And I think like what excites me the most is kind of like the slow disappearing of like what used to be, $1,000 hardware and $1,000 card readers from Verifone and Ingenico. I kind of see the trend as what's happening now is like people with web apps, like web app developers like me, also web applications are taking over old school point of sale applications, like something like a Micros or like those type of like old school POS. And so the payment providers are making it easier and easier for web developers to connect to and communicate with card readers. And that's been really cool to kind of see. And with Apple and others like slowly allowing act like an SDK to just use NFC right on the phone. So from a seller's phone to a buyer's phone to exchange payment tokens is really kind of cool. And so like what's really cool about card not present and the internet is that you don't need to buy any hardware. Nothing needs to get shipped to your house. You just make a website and people use that website. And I think slowly those big old fashioned card readers, the bricks are disappearing. And I like that there's more innovation happening in person. So you can take a flow that was originally designed for a website, but then turn it into like a kiosk or something that might be on site at your business. I think that that's kind of like a cool thing that we've been thinking about and like working on is how do we bridge like now that the world is open again and it's like post-COVID, people are out doing stuff in the physical world. How do you take some of the cool web technologies and apply them to in-person use cases?
Yeah, I like that, and I like it's like has that human feel, and it still matters that because it's all built on relationships, right? And so, yeah, the equipping and empowering just anyone with the phone. It's still you still get that same feel when you make a purchase or decide to make that transaction. It's always the same feeling. So That's cool.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I like that you point out that over time, payments are becoming more digital to the point where, it's even allowing someone to make a what was traditionally seen as a purely physical payment, like a cash payment, and then hooking that into a digital payment so that you can have a wider participation in the economy.
Yeah, for sure. And that's some of the stuff that Rapyd gives you access to. I think like I'm from Canada. Where are you from?
Based in San Jose, California.
San Jose. Okay, cool, cool. Because yeah, like sometimes like even Canadians for many years we don't have co-branded debit cards. So like our debit cards aren't Visa branded for many years. And so even today, half the population who just has a debit card, right, like a checkings or savings account,
Mhm.
wouldn't have a Visa card. And you think about like the thing that's been tough about that is the surge of e-commerce. If somebody wants to take an Uber or buy something from Amazon, they need a Visa token. And, you know, a Visa token was rare for a Canadian to get to their checkings account. Like we fundamentally didn't do that really more than 5 years ago. And today, many students, younger people, they just don't have a Visa token. And so there's tons of markets with this high group of people where, everyone just goes, you got a Visa or a MasterCard, you just punch it in. Everybody has five in their wallet. But the reality is there's like a lot of huge markets that lack a Visa or a MasterCard token to be able to do something. And that's what's pretty cool about the Rapyd platform is it like really fills in all of that, the glue, all of those other markets and segments and people to let them participate in something digital. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I kind of wondered about is like the future of, as time goes on, the adoption of like e-wallets is increasing for people who aren't traditionally banked or even, as you mentioned, someone who may not have a credit card, an e-wallet may be another in for them to be able to, make online purchases easier or to just store their money on the go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like in the US, PayPal, Venmo, you have those type of wallets, which are actually a bit more friendly to the unbanked or the underbanked than like going to Wells Fargo, which is kind of crazy. So you got all those people who are trying to live out of their Venmo using their Venmo debit card. Um, you know, PayPal for years talked about how big the underbanked population is in the United States, and so that's you're right on. Like there's so many people who want to load a cell phone or pay a pay a cable bill, and they just don't have a Visa or Mastercard. They need another way to get funds into the digital ecosystem, and so Rapid's like really quite good at offering those mechanisms. And then as a developer, you don't even need to like it handles it like a credit card. So to you, it looks easy, but to the person, what's actually going on behind the scenes is a lot of both some crazy technology as well as crazy partnerships, as well as like licensing, routing, and all of the compliance issues for like moving from this country to that country. And to you, it's just all invisible, which is pretty cool. But yeah. Anything else new from Rapyd? You guys got anything like on the go? No more big parties or anything happening? I'm waiting for the next giant. What do you guys do? What do them? What they're called?
The
What were they
moment.
called? What what are they? The moments. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No more moments for the moment.
Well, there's some in. I think there was one in Israel,
Okay,
just for
okay.
some of the holidays. Um, yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. They're like they got to be on the drop.
That's true. Yeah, at the next big developer conference or something, would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I know there's a few conferences in Europe. Will be. I'll have to reach out to, um, maybe even connect you with Jason. He's the guy in the Americas.
Okay.
He's here in SF, but yeah, he'll look at the different where they're headed as far as around here. And
Cool. Where are you based, Kyle? You're in.
In San Francisco.
San Francisco too. Okay, so okay.
Yeah. I have to ask, hopefully you're not tired of this question, but what do you feel you've seen or like are thinking of as far as AI and payments in the future?
It's a good question. I've been using it a lot in a couple different ways. I mean, like obviously ChatGPT to help me write scripts. I use it quite a bit for like writing things that are like regular expressions. Like these are like boring things that are highly complicated to write, and it does amazing jobs doing that. Like you can, like the other day I said, write me a function in PHP to get a square order out of a call the Square API and get me the details of the payments and bring it back. And it was essentially flawless, like right out of the gate. It was able to, it's a little dated, right? So you got 2021, API documentation, but overall it's able to write essentially code samples for you based on what was available API specs. So I've been using that. I've been using Midjourney to generate like images or photos of like things. So that's kind of cool. How does it apply to payments? So that's more as like a developer, kind of how I've been using it. But as far as payments goes, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It'll definitely be very interesting. I think like one of the main things that they've said is like ChatGPT is so much ahead of say like Amazon Alexa or Google Home. And the original concept of these Alexas and the Google Homes to be able to help us manage purchase decisions and like lifestyle and like order items for us and all of that kind of stuff, the transactional pieces. There was like this expectation that was like here, and then the reality is like I don't know anybody who's really ordered anything from like their like other than maybe like reorder toilet paper or something like that if you wanted to like tell them. But I think, when the intelligence of ChatGPT gets to these HomeKit stuff, I think it'll be kind of interesting to see and search like the way Google. So the main thing is like the way people search for e-commerce is going to change fundamentally. So, it's kind of like if you ever go to Google Shopping, say you type in like, oh, I need a Ford F-150 headlight bulb, and you go to like Google Shopping, and Google's doing their best to kind of like parse various websites, give you the price, give you the delivery stuff, kind of give you their list. It's so that I think is going to be interesting. Is something like Shopify going to be as important? Do we need like beautiful layout to display a website that has light bulbs? Or are we all just going to have databases of like art that ChatGPT is able to scrape and kind of present them and then take a token and process the token? Like, does something like Shopify become headless? Like it's non-visual, it's just a large database. I could see something like that happening, and people aren't spending all this time like creating brand colors and like checkout things and all that kind of stuff. So I think commerce is going to become more and more like just these giant databases that they're able to search and pull stuff out of. So I think the traditional website that we go to and we scroll through and we click is going to be transformed into something like show me wedding dresses with trumpet style bottoms that are under $500, and you can create made in America, and and then it just pulls all these sources from all over is going to be kind of cool. So I think like that's coming. I think the traditional e-commerce website is slowly gonna die where we go and we create a domain name and we try to pay search ads to get people to come to our website. And like if you think about the average website, conversion rate is 5%, right? Like so 100 people go, 5 people actually buy. So like what is those other 95 people like kind of doing? Like a website is actually a fairly inefficient way to try to build a cart and create commerce. So I think that's going to change a lot. Over the next 5 or 10 years anyways, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all kind of shapes up.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for sharing. So thinking like more SMS kind of style.
What do I mean, like conversational? I think like everything's becoming conversational. I also think like people aren't going to write. I'm thinking like a keyboard is going to be a thing of the past. You know what I mean? Like as you can get better and better auto responses and like, it's going to be crazy, but it's just, yeah, I think conversational shopping, saying like, I like that, but add more like this. Like that's the really cool thing about AI is like you can continue to add different prompts, which like if you think about it, every time you Google, you're like starting from scratch, right? You can't say, okay, yeah, like that, but a little bit more brown, right? Like you can't have a conversation with a Google search, whereas it can refine and filter results, which is really kind of like an impressive way of wanting to shop,
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. Yeah, really cool. That's crazy. Looking forward personally for the upgrade of audio AI for sure, because like mine is right now. It's just like doesn't hear anything I say.
Yeah, the only reason I have Discord is because I use Midjourney, and Midjourney runs on Discord. That's like the AI photo generator and stuff. So, and then when I saw you were doing like a Discord talk, I like hit a button, and then my phone just started like I could hear your voice. It was sitting on my table, and I was like, "Whoa, that's weird."
Yeah.
Discord just like started my app, and it was like playing it because I don't really use it very much. So, but yeah, I guess it forces me to be introduced to what the cool kids are using these days, anyway. So.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah,
All right.
this has been.
Well, it's good to catch up. It's been too long, and I might dip, but it was good to hear what you guys are working on. And if you ever need anything, just reach out. It's always good to chat.
Absolutely. Yeah. Maybe we should have you on to just talk about what you're working on as well sometime.
Yeah. Yeah, could be cool. I appreciate it. Anytime.
Awesome. Take
Okay,
care.
cheers.
Thanks.
Bye. Awesome. Well, it's been a good conversation. Thanks everyone for joining and watching. I'm just gonna head back to our last slide. As we showed this example, to learn more, you can just follow us on Twitter, Rapyd Global or Rapyd Devs, or you can go to community.rapyd.net. We love to hear from you. As well, there's a link, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link below for feedback just on what you want to hear from Rapyd, what you'd like us to cover, and yeah, we'd love to talk with you and get to know you. So thanks again for joining. Have a great day.